How can I use line plots to help me with my science experiment? In this lesson, you will learn how to solve problems by creating and interpreting line plots. Let's review. When we create line plots, we use sets of data. It is helpful to put the data in order from least to greatest before creating a line plot. Then we can create our line for our line plot based upon our range of data. Since our data is in order from least to greatest, it is easy to place our data on the line plot. When creating a line plot, it is important to be specific and accurate with spacing. It can be a common misunderstanding that spacing and accuracy are not important when creating line plots. When we look at this line plot, it is difficult to understand the data. The numbers need to line up with the markings on the line. The size and spacing of the data marks, in this case X's, are important to be able to easily compare sections of data, and the placement of the data marks are important to know which number they belong to. It is always important to remember to be careful and accurate when creating a line plot. When we are able to organize our data using line plots, it makes it easy for us to work with the data. In this situation, we are completing a science experiment, and in this experiment, we're looking at a plant's growth pattern. We have the data in order of days, but for our line plot, it would be helpful to put the data in order from least to greatest. And in order to do that easily, we need to find common denominators for our fractions. Once we have the common denominators, we can easily put the fractions in order from least to greatest. Now that we have our data organized, it's easy to create our line plot. This line plot can help us interpret and answer questions about our data. Since our experiment involves looking at plant growth patterns, we can use the data we've collected so far to help us make predictions for future growth. If we were to make a prediction for tomorrow's plant growth, we could look at the patterns shown in the line plot. When we look, we can see that most of the plant's days of growth have been 1/2 centimeter or less. So an educated guess could be that tomorrow's growth will be 1/2 centimeter or less. We could even get more specific to guess that the growth might be 2/8 centimeters, since that's the measurement of growth that appears the most. To support our prediction, we can show how many more days the plant grew 1/2 centimeter or less when compared to days of more than 1/2 centimeter of growth. We can highlight the days that fall into the 1/2 centimeter or less category and add those up. There were 2 days where the plant grew 4/8 of a centimeter or 1/2 of a centimeter. There were 4 days at 2/8 centimeter and 1 day at 1/8 centimeter, making a total of 7 days where the plant grew 1/2 centimeters or less. Then we can highlight the 2 days that the plant grew more than 1/2 of a centimeter, since we're looking to find out how many more days the plant had less than 1/2 centimeter of growth. So we want to subtract days in this situation. When we subtract 7 days minus 2 days, we end up with an answer of 5 days. There were 5 more days where the plant grew 1/2 centimeter or less versus more than 1/2 centimeter. In this lesson, you have learned how to solve problems by creating and interpreting line plots.